Yo guys, Moxsy here with IGN, and today we're going over the new best experience farm post-patch 1.1.1. Now, if you did not know, in this most recent patch, they upped monster density in Nightmare Dungeons and Hell Tides by upwards of 50%. Now, there are a ton of new dungeons to run, all of which are going to earn you more experience. However, they are not all created equal, and today we're going to be breaking down the top 3 best dungeons to run right now for experience. Quick note before we get into these specific dungeons, these density changes are only active for Nightmare versions of these dungeons, so you're going to want to run all of these dungeons as Nightmare dungeons to receive the amount of experience that I'm stating in this video. So to start us off, tied for our number 3 spot is Hoarfrost's Demise and Uldr's Cave. Now, both of these were top dungeons beforehand, however, with the density changes, they are even better. Uldr's Cave has a little bit more experience in it if you run through the whole dungeon. However, Hoarfrost's Demise can be completed faster, so both of them, when I was farming them, were giving me around 34 million experience an hour. At our number 2 spot is Surrat's Lair. This dungeon was one of the S tier dungeons prior to the density changes, and it got even more monsters in it, giving me about 36 million experience an hour when I was running this. The density feels great, and the tile set for this is pretty quick to run through and pretty straightforward, so you don't have to do any backtracking. And at our number 1 spot for the best experience farm by a long shot is the Domhain Tunnels. These were giving me 60 million experience an hour, so almost double some of our other dungeons and more than triple some of the other Nightmare dungeons that are in the game currently. The amount of experience that this is giving is ridiculous. It was averaging about 1 million experience a minute running it. Now, there is a certain strategy to optimize your farm in this if you're looking to maximize the amount of experience that you're getting per hour, and that is not actually completing the dungeon. In the first part of the dungeon is where you'll find some of the most density, and your first objective in this dungeon is to free prisoners. However, if you're getting hit by monsters, you can't actually interact with the prisoners, and I found that there are so many monsters in here that every time I killed a group of monsters and then I tried to free one of the prisoners, the more monsters would spawn and then they would just keep hitting me. So the strategy that I am running to get around 60 million experience an hour is I'm actually just clearing the first half of this dungeon, blasting through it, and then resetting it so that I can run through it again. And this was averaging me 60 million experience an hour where you're not full clearing it. If you are full clearing it, you can still earn upwards of like 40 million to like 38 million experience an hour, but it is fastest if you don't run through the full thing. If you would like to reset a dungeon to run it over and over again, you simply need to pass the host to someone that you're playing with and then choose to not share your progress. When you choose to not share your progress, that means that whoever gets past the host will not share their progress, and so that when they do the dungeon and complete it, they can leave the party and then do the dungeon again, as you chose to not share your progress. So right now, we are currently in a dungeon, my friend and I, and he's gonna pass me the host. And when you see this pop up, when you pass the host or promote someone to party lead, would you like to return to your own world state? You do not want to return to your own world state. That is what allows you to repeat farming a dungeon over and over again. So now we could do this Nightmare dungeon over and over again. Just to like show you, I'm gonna push up here real quick, just to give it a little bit of progress. And then now that I've like killed some enemies in here and you've seen that I've made some progress, this is just like, I'm not gonna run through the whole dungeon right now, but then I would go to my social and then leave party. Whoever is the host needs to be the person that leaves the party. And now it's going to put me back into my own world with the dungeon, as I chose to not reset it or share my progress. Walk back into the dungeon and you'll see that my progress is reset. And this is how you run the same dungeon over and over and over again as a group. As you can see, same dungeon, the tile set is slightly different as we're going this way now, and all of my progress on the map that I made is now reset, so I could just do this dungeon over and over again. I did not have a sigil of the Domhain Tunnels to like demonstrate this with, but it works for all Nightmare dungeons. That is going to do it for the video. I wish you the best in farming your characters as efficiently, as quickly as possible. For any more information on Diablo 4, stay tuned here at IGN.